Hello, Mr. Kaczynski with you. Section A of IXL's Algebra 1, the skill is sort rational and irrational numbers. Not a whole lot going on here. I think you'll have good success. All right, rational are any numbers that can be written as the ratio of two integers. For instance, 8 can be written as a ratio of 8 to 1, where both 8 and 1 are integers, so that would be rational. 5, that can be written as a ratio of 5 to 1, so that's rational. 8 plus 5, or 13, that can be written as a ratio of 13 to 1. So that's rational. All of these are rational. All right, well, what about here? Pi is a symbol because it can't be written as just a basic ordinary number, what we call a rational number. It's also a non-terminating, non-repeating decimal. 3.14, blah, 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 blah. The decimal goes on forever. We call that irrational. Pi is probably the most famous irrational number. Negative 5? Negative 5 is an integer, and all integers are rational. But when you add the two together, a rational number plus an irrational number, you will get an irrational number. This is negative 8.1. Oh, wait, actually, no, because you're adding 3.14, so it's negative 2.86 something with a bunch of numbers that never repeat or terminate. So that makes it irrational. All right, 6, obviously rational. It's a ratio of 6 to 1, or 12 to 2, or 24 to 4. Square root of 6 is irrational. So square roots are usually irrational. I say usually because you could do the square root of a perfect square, like the square root of 9, which is 3, which would make it rational. And when you add a rational to an irrational, you will get an irrational number. Negative 8, well, that's an integer, and integers are rational. Negative 9, that's an integer, and integers are rational. Negative 8 times negative 9 is just 72, and that's rational. And negative 8 plus negative 9 is negative 17, and that's rational. All of these are rational. Square root of 23 is irrational. It is, if it was the square root of 25 or the square root of 16, that would make it rational, because I know this is between 4 and 5 someplace, but the square root of 23 is irrational. It's a non-terminating, non-repeating decimal. 6, we've already said before, is rational. When you multiply them by each other, a rational times an irrational, you will get an irrational. However, and I couldn't find an example like this on IXL, if you do it irrational times an irrational, sometimes you will get a rational number. And if you add them together, that would be irrational as well. All right, I don't think you'll have a whole lot of trouble with this. Just be on the alert for pi and square roots of non-perfect squares. Good luck. Let me know how it goes.